Welcome to the Grappling Grappling Rewind Podcast.
Welcome to this week on the Grappling Rewind Podcast. On this week's show, we are going to recap UFC BJJ 4, Andrew Tackett versus Elijah Dorsey. Next week's show, we are going to recap the IBJJF 2025 Nogi Worlds. It is currently happening right now.
Yes, it is.
And we have my wife's black belt promotion tomorrow, so we are going to do the show tonight because that is take big priority for tomorrow. So as always in the show, I'm your host, Maine, my co-host,
Corey.
How you doing, Corey?
Freezing my ass off, bro. It's cold outside.
It is pretty cold. We had some snow down here in Maryland, which is not super common, and so Corey and I are both really enjoying that.
It's a little nip.
Yeah, a little nippy. Fun matchups. Really no news this week, so we're going to get right into it. I talked about it a second ago here. IBJJF Nogi Worlds, we're going to talk about that next week. Those are all happening right now. Some interesting matchups so far. It was funny. I was listening to a preview for the last year's number 131, Luke Griffith versus Felipe Pena. And Felipe Pena had in an interview basically went, I'm going to paraphrase because I don't remember the interview quote, but I remember the sentiment of the quote was basically, yeah, the best guys in the world aren't at IBJJF anymore. They're on like cards like these. They're on money. They're chasing the money. They're getting paid. And I was like, we've talked about that for years kind of being the case. But generally speaking, when we started the show, and even, until a couple of years ago, there weren't enough pro tournaments to really justify like, well, there'll be a big pro event. Yeah. And then like guys will go to Worlds. It is very funny to have a Nogi event this weekend with UFC BJJ 4 and also have the World Championships, and then look at the roster of athletes that was on UFC BJJ 4 and went, oh yeah, half of these guys would be
in the finals
in medal contention in their divisions. And like it looks back to that Pena quote to go, oh yeah, Pena kind of was correct about that. And we've talked about it for years. That would be the case one day. You'd have exclusive contracts. But if guys and athletes are getting paid, yeah, man, why would I go to the amateur tournament series? I would go to the pro fight when I can go get paid once I've done my work in IBJJF for other organizations to kind of get a name to be able to get onto those pro matchups. And so it is very interesting to be pushing an amateur tournament in Nogi Worlds. Yeah. Like a paid tournament, you have to pay to enter that tournament for a pro event for UFC BJJ. And we finally kind of reached that crossover in the show where it's like, yep, we're bumping the tournaments that aren't paid tournaments more and more and more. We've done a bunch of times this year. We've pushed a major for IBJJF and do it next week because we had a pro event to talk about. And it is just very interesting. So we kind of need to look probably internally. This is sort of probably an internal show question with the team to figure out like, hey, what events are we probably going to not cover as much or only cover if they're available and just sort of skip on the amateur side because there are pro tournaments to talk about,
and the seemingly better athletes maybe in these paid events. You know what I mean?
It's very interesting when that talent pool has now shifted away from it. Hey man, if you can make a pro event, you're not going to fight for free, or you're not going to pay to go fight people to go win accolades that you don't need because you're a professional athlete competing in a pro sport.
Correct, and a shiny little medal won't pay your bills.
Yeah, like LeBron James isn't going to go down and play, isn't going to go pay to do like a rec league tournament. No. He's going to go compete in the NBA finals or whatever the equivalent. It's just a very interesting kind of turning point and tipping point. And it came from Pena, a guy who's very in the know, who's been on the pro scene for a very long time and truly like seen, he's won IBJJF titles, he's won ADCC titles, he's won the amateur titles and the pro titles and everything in between. And so it was interesting to hear that quote from him. And then this week, we immediately bump Worlds to talk about the UFC BJJ. So,
and it's been mentioned before by some folks, but now it was just interesting to hear him say it at this time with Nogi Worlds going on and the UFC BJJ going on and going, wow, okay. It's
a lot of these guys could make the finals.
Yeah, he said it, and we've been knowing of this for years, and like, wow, to have him say it right now is just really, it's interesting.
It was pertinent. It was very pertinent. So let's start off. Corey and I just did a pre-show and just went through card order, starting with Lucas Pinheiro. Let's run through the fun order. Let's kick it off with Andrew Tackett versus Elijah Dorsey, the main event for 170.
Okay.
When I pulled the data here for the notes we have for the show this week, because Miranda, we're not blessed with Miranda's notes this week on weeks that she's not here. You have good notes, but
not like hers.
I pulled, I was like, I wonder what the betting odds were. Basically, and you can get betting odds in two different ways. But basically, you can get opening odds, which are when the matchup is announced. And opening odds are typically way more close to what the open odds is. Like the actual matchup odds. You know, hey, this guy's a 2-1 favorite. You know, this is an even matchup. And then as money comes in, because betting companies are trying to make their money, the odds will shift to be weighted more the other, and you can kind of see where money is. So some of these guys opened up a little close and then ended way, way far away. Tackett was over a 1,000 favorite. More than a 10-1 favorite.
Almost a sure shot.
Basically a sure shot. And we talked about this on the show, and we're like, okay, Dorsey has he has a shot here. Again, he's world class, but his pathway to victory here, given even the commentators brought it up, like that counter fight style, he'll push you out of a matchup, he'll sort of play you into his game. I was like, I don't know how well that will work against Andrew Tackett. And immediately, I was a little bit wrong because of two things. One, Dorsey came out way more aggressive than he usually comes out.
Yes, he did.
And that surprised me because, again, one of the things that we've sort of talked about Elijah Dorsey's game for years and years now is that, like, a lot of times he can pull most guys, even world-class guys, out of their game. And then he can sort of keep them there. But if he's unable to do that, his pacing is not good enough and consistent enough to win matches against a lot of those the guys at the highest level because he's just not active enough to win those. Yeah. And so if it goes to the decision or if there's like there's a question, other guys going to win it because Dorsey's just not active enough with that counter-fighting style. He comes out aggressive in this matchup. He jumps the guard. He goes for like the mirror lock. You know, he immediately went in. I was like, man, you're kind of doing what you would have to do and like tactically against Andrew Tackett, because if you don't do that, Tackett is going to blow through you.
Yeah, and initially that's how it started out because Tackett came out blasting. So Elijah met his pace. Tackett shot. Elijah immediately went for the guillotine.
Yeah.
Threw him over, and I'm like,
I watched
wow,
that.
he is game. It's on and popping right now.
Yeah, and it fed into like, oh, he's a counterfighter, but also like that was a good guillotine.
Yes,
it was.
And all of a sudden, Tackett was on defense. He was on defense immediately. So
yeah, the defense was interesting from Tackett because we've seen Tackett play defense, but to be put on defense that early, very rare for Andrew Tackett. And I went, okay, probably not going to get worried about that. But I'm always curious.
Very curious.
He had an injury in camp. Maybe they had the ribs. Like, you always kind of wonder if a guy, because sometimes a guy will just have an odd day.
Yep.
And if he wasn't expecting, especially with Dorsey, to come out super aggressive and counter and go for that guillotine, like, hey, if that throws you off, man, it wouldn't surprise me for Dorsey and Dorsey's camp, which are some of the best game planners in the sport, to like know that, have looked at, have past matches and research and look and like, this is how to throw off Andrew.
Correct.
If any team could do it, you know, TLI would be the team I would guess would be able to do that. And then it didn't matter.
Yeah.
And then Andrew went, oh, that was crazy that I had to go on defense for a second. And Eliza gets back to the bottom, goes immediately into legs. And I went, okay, this is a good leg lock shot. I am curious where he's going to take this. The forces defense from Tackett. Tackett goes. Dorsey passes over to outside 50-50, and I went, no, he's not. He's not going to.
Yes, he did.
No, that's not going to happen.
Deja vu.
Deja vu. Dorsey gets a really good bite, and I went, that's kind of deep, actually. Like, that is actually way deeper than I would expect Tackett to let this heel hook be. And then Tackett immediately does exactly what PJ Barch did to ADCC and, like, drops down, counter heel hooks Elijah Dorsey, and Dorsey taps, and he wins the title.
Yeah.
And I went, again? It was just a very odd game plan. Come out super aggressive, go early, then immediately gun into the legs and get counter heel hooked again.
Yeah.
And it is so indicative of the Barch. Not indicative. It's like, it was like watching a different version of that Barch match where it's like, you were up, you were ahead, you were winning, and then you go into the legs and you get counter heel hooked and lose. It was just such an odd thing from a guy and from a team that is so game plan heavy. And we've seen amazing, like, thoughtful performances from Dorsey and his team and how they like craft and think about matchups and push them into their favor.
Yeah.
To lose like this spectacularly in two different high-level matchups in the same way is really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. To enter the legs on two elite grapplers such as Barch and Tackett.
That are known for like counter leg lock guys. Like entering on Canuto It'd be the same thing of like, hey man, maybe that's not like that's not a path. Like I want to pull them into my game.
Exactly. Play your A game. Exactly. You have to. There's no choice. There is no B game. You got to play your A game. And that's not Dorsey's A game.
Tactically, it was just a really interesting decision. It was like I would figure that he would force Andrew into the guard. He would slow him down. He would try to sweep. He looked to get him to overextend.
Now, to be honest, to his defense, I mean, he had a really good bite on Andrew.
He had a much better bite than I thought he was going to get.
If Andrew wasn't as good as he is, he would have tapped. He would have tapped. So I can understand why he did it, but it's like, man, to lose that way 2 times to 2 elite grapplers with really good leg
big stages. It was just. That was the more telling thing. It was to his credit, though.
Yeah.
Like a much tighter heel.
I was surprised he got there. I'm like, holy shit, he's going to tap him. All of a sudden, Tackett was like, okay, let's go.
And then Tackett was like, I must win.
I must win. Ankle be damned. I don't know how his ankle's feeling today.
Yeah.
Tackett's ankle, but it was impressive. But it was I thought it would last more than 1 round.
I did not think it was going to last more than 1 round. I think I thought the only way that Dorsey wins this was by decision. Mm-hmm. And then the only way Tackett wins this is by however he was going to do whatever he wanted.
Yeah.
I just think the pacing that Tackett has in UFC is going to be a problem.
For a lot of people.
And then we'll talk about Dorian Oliveira, again, another guy that like pacing alone with other ancillary and the kind of secondary techniques is also a problem. But
and it's funny because now it's like that old adage where technique is king. But it's like, you know what? If you are more physical and if you have that gas tank, technique will corrode very quickly.
It's also, we'll talk about this because it didn't happen in this matchup, but there's a bunch of matchups on the card where it was technique is king until you get tired.
Yes, until you have no more, until you can't breathe.
We had a lot of guys on this card that seemed to be the deciding factor. And so it's really interesting. And we've talked about it for a decade now. The sport has changed. When we started covering the sport, mid 2017, 2018, you could have, and we were more used to, way slower paced matches. And like the pacing of the sport was slow. It was traditional. It was like past the guard. And occasionally you had wild fast sequences, but they were not the norm. They were not even common.
They were the exception.
Now they are more the norm and they are common to have these, like the pacing of the sport has shifted dramatically. And we're having guys like Andrew Tackett and like Cade Bertolo and Dorian Oliveira and guys that Micah Gavao frequently use pace as a weapon. They can keep that pace up for the entirety of a match, and then also on top of that have razor sharp technique and like world-class technique. And now that is more and more at the lower weight classes what is required. And I like where it's going, but it's just very interesting that we're seeing now more and more high-level guys. So let's talk about it now. William Tackett versus Ronaldo Junior.
Real quick before we get into this, I think this is a result of we're getting our wish. We wanted more exciting. We wanted the grapplers to get paid. They're getting paid. How to get paid? You have more exciting matches. How do you have more exciting matches? You're more physical. You put a pace. You're moving. You're not sitting back with a slow, grindy game. You're doing things that are exciting. Flash subs.
I want to watch other grapplers compete. Like I want to watch William Tackett's match, Andrew Tackett's match, Dorian Oliveira's matches. Why? It's like because I'm not gonna sit there and watch him in the guard for the entirety of the match. Like, cool man, I know you're gonna pass eventually. Like at a certain point, we've watched enough matches where, as a sports commentator is one thing, but as a fan, there are certain guys and women that I'm more willing to watch as a fan,
for sure,
because you're doing stuff and you're active and you're pacing, and I'm engaged in watching your match because it is not sitting. I'm not looking for you to get the same underhook on the leg for half the match.
Correct.
You're gunning through technique, and I'm like, man, it's wild. You got that sequence going.
Yes.
It's the changes. We're at a very pivotal time.
Excitement means money, and I think that's the biggest reason we're seeing this now. Athletes are saying, "Hey, if I'm exciting, even if I lose, I get paid. Let's go."
Yeah, I think I do like that.
Plus the meta changes every week too. So it's like everything is so fastly evolving. But
I also like to recognize if you're gonna have a sport, you have to have rules, and you have to people that are gonna want to watch the sport, and you have to craft your rules in a way that makes people want to watch your sport. And so it's just unacceptable to have like the glacial matches we used to have because it's not exciting and I don't want to watch. Agreed. So it's interesting. I like where it's pushing the sport.
Same here.
It's not really. You're not doing it in spite of technique. You're like, no, man, you have to do the technique you want to do. Just add a higher pace.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, it is not allowable for you to just hold the body lock and eventually after 30 minutes it works. Like, no, you're doing a sport now. It's not for honor or for fights. It's like you're doing a sport and you have to be able to do this pass at pace because we are doing a sport. And there are constraints in a sport. And that's what we're watching. So, speaking of pacing, William Tackett versus Ronaldo Junior. This was for the 185-pound title. I clearly picked William Tackett. I was like, his brother's going to win. He's going to win. I've watched them both win trials. I've watched them both do great in CJI. Like, really hot on the Tackett brothers when it comes to these formats. And I was correct for the first round.
Yeah.
William Tackett comes out aggressively, beautiful takedowns. Ronaldo, I've butchered his name. Yeah, Ronaldo.
Ronaldo, you got it.
I always want to call
Rolando.
I always want to call him Ronaldo.
That's why I'm here for you.
So many
I'm
years,
here for you, my man.
I'm gonna do it. I just need to correct me because he's now the champion at 185 for UFC.
Yeah, put some respect on his name.
The middleweight champion is like, hey man, it's time to stop calling him the soccer player's name. Ronaldo.
That is a soccer player's name, Ronaldo.
I know, but saying
it's
time for me to stop calling him.
Yeah.
No, wait, what? Regardless, it's time for me to get his name right after this many years. He was in this match in the first round, and I went, okay, it's only a matter of time before William is going to do very much what his brother did. And to like all the guys that he can't put away early, wears him down with pace, gets him exhausted, and then those last rounds, he's just running through and chucking the kitchen sink at a guy, even if it's not a guy he can put away. He is just putting such a pace on you that it is overwhelmingly clear that he won that match.
Correct.
And I was like, William comes out in the first round, aggressive, good takedowns, puts Ronaldo on the back foot. Ronaldo's in it, throws up some good stuff, passing. And then the second round happens, and I went, okay, cool, couldn't put him away. More of the same is to come. And then you watch the demeanor of William, not demeanor necessarily, but like the output. The output
so let's go down,
was a little slow. And by the middle of that second round, Ronaldo was the one pushing the sequences. Yeah. He was the one in mount with the arm triangle. Williams defending. He was the one working the front headlock game, the Darce game, the Anaconda game.
Being really physical, making Tackett pay for it.
Yeah, you brought up something interesting that I want you to bring up now on the pre-show. We were talking about like the difference in the way that Andrew Tackett versus Ronaldo, like they do the same thing,
but it's different. And even the commentators commented on it. Ronaldo's he tends to cook his opponents, and it's more of a. They were saying obviously more stand up. He's more stand up oriented than Andrew a little bit, but he's gonna pull out on your neck. He got the overhooks. He's pulling down, but he's gonna wear you out because he's constantly pulling your neck. He's gonna make you stand up.
He's making you hold you.
He's gonna make you hold. He's gonna hold his weight. And obviously he's just as physical, if not more physical, than Andrew Tackett, and he's bigger and he's athletic in a different way than Andrew Tackett.
Andrew Tackett's gonna throw. When I watch Andrew, it's like he throws so much stuff in front of you that he just sort of over. And a lot of some fighters do this, where they just throw so much information at you that you just get mentally exhausted. Like, I have to deal with all of these parameters for anything and throw at any time. And he showed me so much I just can't deal with having to respond to everything in front of me at the same time, and I'm going to make a mistake.
Ronaldo's like, nope, this is what I'm going to do to you, and I'm going to keep constant pressure on you, and I'm going to do a couple extra things, but I'm right in front of you. I'm locked in step with you, and I'm not going to back up, and I'm just going to physically drain you.
He pushes you down, pushes you down. And like that was really, it was odd to me that it was so successful versus William, because I don't see William as a small guy. Like, he seems pretty comparably sized for 185, and I just didn't expect the game of like he cooks guys. Ronaldo, it's one of the reasons that I've been kind of frustrated covering Ronaldo over the years, is because sometimes he has a slow pace for big chunks of his matches, and I'm like, okay, he's better than the guy, obviously. I'm waiting for him to do something. He weathers the storm for Tackett, and then his like, pressure paid dividends, and he forced Tackett to the defensive. He forced him in the front headlock.
He looked big too. I think I wonder what he walks around at. I mean,
I don't know.
He did a 185 match. I think he was maybe 200 walks around. 205.
Wouldn't surprise. 205 might be a little big,
but he just looks like the bigger fighter and longer arms. I mean, he loves the guillotines. He loves the Darces. I mean, he plays a game that I try to emulate. You know what I mean? But you can just tell he was on Tackett like flies on shit. And when he smelled blood, he just went for him. He cooked him. Yeah. The last two rounds is basically him and Mount with an arm triangle.
Yeah, it was wild to me, because I remember.
And at the end of the second round, you can see Tackett just kind of wobble back to the corner, and I'm just like, oh, he's done.
He's tired.
He's done.
And Tackett's not a guy that we've seen really get tired. So I'm curious if there's something more to this match, because I figure that William would be able to go 15. This is with the breaks.
Especially he trains with his brother so frequently.
Yeah,
so
I figured you'd be able to go 15 minutes.
Yeah.
It was just very interesting because that third round, like end of the second round, I was like, okay, William is tired, but I went, okay, I like his game. I'm confident in his game. He'll pull it back out. And I remember watching that third round and like he's back in the bottom. He's defending the arm triangle. He's defending the arm triangle well. I went, I don't think he's tired enough to have to tap, but I don't think that second burst of like winning offense is coming. I think Ronaldo has just played this so well.
Yeah.
He's put so much pressure. He's cooked so hard that William is going to be able to weather this, but is going to spend all of his energy and effort weathering this and never really get back. And that timer ends, and I was like, yep, that's exactly what happened. Ronaldo played this like perfectly. He stayed diligent on the head.
Yes, he did.
He put up enough offense and chest pressure and top pressure to just force William to defend. And when he's forcing William to defend, a lot of times he's forcing William to like be bridging and turning and pulling down like statically.
Yes, I agree.
And so
it takes a lot of energy because I do that myself.
I'm curious.
Trying to defend your submissions.
In Ronaldo's game, if this is like a mechanism he uses to cook guys. And I think we've watched him do it before where it's like he will tend to sit in subs or sit guys in subs where you can tell, oh, he's not really gunning for this.
Right.
He's just forcing you to carry the sub. And I always thought it was an optics thing because he couldn't finish the sub. I am thinking in this match now
that's part of his game.
It's more of a tactics thing. It's like he's not going to gas himself out going for the sub. He's good enough to put you in defensive, like an offensive area, and then he'll make you statically defend this, and then eventually later in a match as it goes on, you're so tied, your arms are gassed because you've been defending a sub that he's cranking just enough that if you give it to him, he'll take it, but he's not going to overextend. And then later in the match, he's going to fight you, he's going to get you, he's going to finish you. And I think, again, this goes another round. I wouldn't be surprised if Ronaldo was able to finish William with that strategy because the last Darce defense that William got out of, I went, ooh, man, that's because you're tough and because you're game and like you're gutting through, trying to turn shoulders to the mat, get up, push off. If we see this Ronaldo as the champion, I'm excited.
I'm very excited.
I mean, there's some very fun matchups for him to have, and I'm more on board with some of the pacing that he's done before because now I know there's process behind it.
Yeah.
It's not just because you can't, it's because you're thinking this is what you want to do, and so like I'm back on board.
And training under Andre Galvao, I expect no less. He's the ultimate gamesman.
Absolutely,
man. He
knows how to plan.
His games are crazy. He's the ultimate planner. So this was very, very. It was a pleasure to watch this match.
Yeah,
it was constant action.
So that was fun. Those are the two title fights for the men. Let's move on to the grosser of the matches. The inaugural women's featherweight title between Raquel Canuto and Aurelie Le Vern. Relatively quick match. First round. Super gross kimura that Aurelie hit on Canuto in the first round. It was basically it was off of like the first or second real sequence of the match. Yeah. Canuto's wrestling, and then Le Vern just slides her leg through under the neck and then locks up a head and arm triangle. Or sorry, not head and arm triangle.
I think what happened when Raquel shoots and from that point, Le Vern's on top. Yeah. She eventually she's able to get I guess you can call it a reverse triangle from the back. I'm not sure.
I said an arm triangle. I meant reverse triangle.
Yeah, reverse triangle. And then she kind of loops her arm through to try to create more pressure. And then I guess Raquel turns with her, and then she ends up in cross mount with a kimura grip. And then from that point, she was off to the races. It was just like you saw her break the grip, and then you saw her just kind of put her hand on her back, and I'm just like, oh, okay, it's getting there, Raquel. You see her gutting it out.
Well, they're showing the camera of Raquel's face, and you're watching her eyes like bugged, like just gritting through. We brought it up on the pre-show, and eventually Aurelie gets it, and Canuto's arm just looks demolished. Doesn't look like it broke.
But when she had to help her push her left hand under her back with her right hand, you can tell, she has
something's
no power.
torn, something's screwed up.
Yeah.
It was one of those, so we've talked about this back and forth for years on the show. At what point in like a professional jiu-jitsu match does a referee step in? When it's like before it breaks. And usually it's like, do they ever step in before it breaks? Is like big question that you have to ask. And it's like in a pro match, the answer is universally like no. Like, hey man, you're a pro guy or a pro woman. If it doesn't break, that's on you.
Right.
But this is one of those where it kind of makes you kind of go, you're not improving your position. I'm just watching you gut a sub that you're not escaping out of, and the arm's just going like nothing is changing except the arm is going further and further and further and further and further and further. It's like it's gonna break sooner rather than later where it is at. Again, I think it's the right call for the ref to not stop it, but it does make you kind of. This is an interesting match when you are not in a world champion match to ask and go of like there's no defense happening other than like you just trying to pull your arm back. Eventually, that arm just snaps and you have a snapped arm on the mat. Whereas the ref could have stepped in and gone, yep, you're not defending where you need to. Your arm, you have a grip. There's nothing mechanically you can do here to stop this.
Correct.
And Aurelie just gets a beautiful, beautiful sub. Canuto, once the grip broke, she tried to get it out, tried to finish the roll.
Yeah.
There's a possibility that Aurelie's arms get tired here, but
I don't know, bro. They showed some clips from prior to the match of her working out. She's a beast, like a physical specimen.
You don't get a world title without being.
But I think she's very just a nice person because afterwards they were interviewing her. She was for her mother back home in France. I think her mother might be sick and all, but even when she had that sub, she didn't crank it. You just said she was just constant pressure. She's she could have been a prick about it and just crank it, but she didn't. It was just she did it the right way. She did it professionally. She gave her a chance to tap.
It was cool.
And just I think Raquel was just her being a hometown hero. That was her. That was her turf.
Doing
in
everything
Vegas.
you could.
She just didn't. She wanted that title, and rightfully so. She tried to gut it out, but I think it was
It was long. It was gross.
It was gross, and I think she should have tapped. But eventually, she did do a verbal tap. But you saw her after the fight. I want to say it was right. It was during Ronaldo's match. She was in a sling in the audience.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean,
it's probably torn. I mean,
I'm sure to be torn. If it's not torn, I am shocked at the level of flexibility in her arm. If it's not torn, I'm happy we didn't see one of those spiral breaks. Those are always gross to watch when the arm goes. But again, really impressive match from Aurelie. She's now the women's featherweight champion. There's some interesting matchups to make for her at featherweight.
Also, that was her A game, man. She's had plenty of subs from that same position.
Yeah.
And Raquel had to know that.
She
had to know that.
But also, it's such a good position for Aurelie because, once you have someone in that reverse triangle, we rarely see people, even at the highest levels, get out of that, especially if you have the Kimura grip on that far side arm. You can't roll because the arm's trapped for the Kimura. You can't spin. You can't pull your head out because the Kimura is there. You can't even clear with your other arm because you can't reach it behind. Once the grip breaks, unless you beat them with the roll, it is.
And then she's across her body, so she couldn't roll.
There's nothing. And there's the pit in the way. There's a bowl in the way.
Yeah, there's nothing.
It was a match that was. It was one of those subs where it's like, yep, you've got this, and I'm gonna be astonished if you don't get this. So again, love to see it in the title fight.
Prayers to Raquel. Heal up.
Next match, we have women's strawweight match: Mayssa Bastos versus Amanda Alequin. This match was a little frustrating. We've talked about it. We've talked about Mayssa's game a lot. Mayssa's one of the most accomplished women to ever do it, notably at UFC BJJ and not at IBJJF Worlds.
Interesting.
Also notably, not at one championship.
Correct.
So I'm really curious if they closed her division after she beat Danielle Kelly. She could possibly still be, but I don't know. It would be odd to have her be able to compete in both of those simultaneously based on what we know about either contract. From the UFC side, it would be less odd because she's not a title holder in the UFC. Okay. But for one championship, that would be the first time we had a champion competing in another organization in grappling, other than Cade doing CJI. But that was like a special.
It's like a one.
It was a $1 million tournament. Yeah. It was a little event. It was. And even one championship was like, hey, we're having to go see him go do it. Yeah. But they seem to have the Rotolos seem to have a different working relationship with one than most grapplers. They're also both fighting for one now, and so there's, they probably have a much more custom contract than Mayssa had. So we see Mayssa back here. Mayssa wins this, clear unanimous decision. You brought up a couple of pieces in this match that I thought were interesting. When we've talked about Bastos for a while, especially in Nogi, a lot of times I'm really concerned with, at the top levels, her lack of willingness to gun for submissions and her finishing in submissions. Mm-hmm. She is not a fantastic finisher in Nogi. And in Gi, she puts such a pace. She wins on points. She has huge points leads on everyone most of the time. Agreed. but I've always been a little concerned with like the amount of people that she is putting away and the pace that she is putting them away. And that was kind of clear here with Amanda. You had one sequence you were talking about headlock, I think, earlier.
Yes, yeah, you've seen her like she had Tubby Alequin in a couple headlocks, and you could just see that she did not want to progress that go down that path and progress to a submission. She immediately almost switched to legs. She
would
lets
like
go.
drop from the top
Yeah, she
into
let
the
go
legs again.
Like for instance, beginning of third round, Tubby comes in, she locks up a headlock, even has the opportunity to get a guillotine. She drops back and tries to enter the legs. And I'm like, what are you doing? And why give up that great position?
I think even you said even commentary kind of
even the commentary comment on it is like, wow, this is weird that she
commentary
did that.
was a lot better this event overall.
They were on it, bro. But you saw that throughout the match. I want to say Mayssa clearly won the first and the third round. The middle one was a toss-up, but it was more of the same. Because her lack of going for that finish kind of kept Tubby in the game a little bit.
Yeah.
Tubby was very active with the legs, but you could just see that the tentativeness that Mayssa had. You can just say she was like a little gun shy. She didn't want to. She was risk averse.
And that's something we've always
didn't
talked
want
about.
to take that chance. It's like open up. You know, you're good enough that if you don't get it, your defense is good enough that you can get back to a neutral position.
Yeah.
She wasn't willing to really make that move, man. She was just like, come on.
And that's sort of the weird thing about
hit the gas, let's go. And she never really hit the gas.
The weird thing about Mayssa's game is that she would get to a position, she'd go back to her guard, she could sweep. She could go back at the top, and you saw that a couple of times, almost every round. She would get at the bottom, she would sweep Tubby, and then be back on top, and then she would sort of establish, maybe not really pass, and then go back down again to score. Like we've seen this before with people that play a lot of like really, really IBJJF heavy games that have a game
Point fighters,
much like point fighters.
Yeah,
where it's like I'll get up and then I'll lose the sweep and not have it scored, and then come back down and sweep you again. And it's always odd when we see someone come out of that IBJJF feeder into these pro events and retain that same, like those same tendencies of like, hey, that is not the criteria for what wins you this match. And because you're such a good sweep artist and you play such a good guard and like you have these other pieces, you're going to win this match in a decision.
Yes.
But when you have someone that is way more familiar with these rule sets, they can game that a lot better. It's like, they're not going to really care that you've swept her 4 times or twice around. Like that is not really in a lot of these rule sets for the pro side.
In this one in particular, I want to say the 3 points were submission attempts, aggressiveness, and then I think positional control, and at the very end was like, I think that might have been the 3 there. So they want you to go for these submissions. But they don't care you sweeping someone over. They want to see you gunning for a submission, trying to put this person away.
Hey man, you sweep on the bottom and I gun for something like that. That does all the. We don't care as much about positional work as we used to, especially in points tournaments.
Correct.
Like this is subs, this is activity and aggressiveness. So if you're just winning in one big moment on a sweep and you're not really doing much with it, a lot of times in criteria, that's almost a non-scoring criteria because you being on top isn't actually that advantageous in the rules. Like the rules don't really care where you are doing your work from. They care that you are doing the work.
Yes.
And so it's really interesting to watch Mayssa Bastos in some of these tournaments because clearly wins in most rule sets here, but her unwillingness to progress and like really hunt hard for subs makes me a little concerned for as she does more and more of these pro events, when that is the majority of the criteria. She fights for a small margin here for Tubby Alequin. Tubby makes some, relatively small changes in this matchup, and like she's going for the legs in this matchup. There's a very easy pathway for Tubby to take this matchup, even though she was getting swept. That's not as much the criteria.
Correct.
You being aggressive and you hunting for something, a lot of times is now what these rule sets are looking for. They don't really care as long as you're not mounted. If you're just sweep for sweep in the guard, like you're going from neutral position to neutral position to neutral position to neutral position, you being on top is not the factor anymore in professional grappling.
In their eyes, they've done nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
So
rightfully so. And I think her non-willingness to do anything or unwillingness to go for submissions kept Tubby in this match longer than she should have. Even though Tubby Alequin is top notch, he's elite. I think that Mayssa Bastos' inability or unwillingness to go for subs kept it close.
Yeah, it did.
And there was a couple of times in which Tubby got a couple good bites. So and it's kind of a tip of the cap to how good both these ladies are. But I think if Mayssa was a little bit
The strategy, man. The
risk-averse.
strategy is concerning
She would have really
for
kinda
this
put this
kind of
away.
matchup, especially coming off of being the one champion. Like the strategy is concerning for longevity.
So I think
in
she needs
these
to tweak her
pro
game a
sets.
little bit from going from IBJJF to these matches here where, hey, we want to see action, and the rule set dictates that you go for these submissions.
Yeah. So let's move on to Renato Canuto. You have anything else on this matchup?
Oh, no. Nope.
Renato Canuto versus Alan Sanchez. Kind of this really similar thing we just talked about with Mayssa. Renato Canuto has one of the best styles for who's number one and UFC FPI, Feminist Invitational, like all of these events, because he is. I mean, it doesn't hurt that he's world class.
No, it doesn't.
He can pass, he can sweep, he can gi, he can no-gi, he can do it all. But also, he's aggressive.
Yes.
And he is looking and hunting for the sub, and he is willing to sell out and work for stuff. And like, he is not so risk averse that he will not gun for a sub on you that is low percentage, that he can scramble and make something happen.
Yeah, he came out, did a jumping triangle. He flying triangle from beginning of round one, flying triangle. It didn't work, but he went for it.
Immediately puts the match as you are winning that round because you've done the thing you are doing and meeting the criteria for what's going to win you a decision, even if it's not going to work.
Correct.
Even if it's low risk, so even if it's like high reward, high risk, in an even matchup, you did that. That is enough to win you that matchup. And Alan Sanchez in this matchup seemed to be looking for, and it's one of the things we see from a lot of 10th Planet guys, looking for that one opportunity, like in the same way like Kyle Chambers plays, like play possum almost, until that one moment. And phenomenal, submission artist, and when he grabs something, he can finish.
Right.
And he has been down in a lot of matches in his career, and will pull something out, buggy choke or pull like a triangle armbar. He'll pull something out and make it work and win. But in this rule set, contrasted with a guy like Canuto, who is consistently on top, passing consistently, getting you down consistently, going through the guard consistently, going to north-south consistently. Like, the couple of buggy chokes that Sanchez throws up are just not going to be enough to beat a guy like Canuto ever.
Not at all.
And so it was interesting to sort of look at the contrasting styles of Canuto just consistently being aggressive, looking for positional advancement, looking for submission advancement, to Allen's on the bottom, looking for like defensive counter submissions, but always being countered by Canuto.
Correct. And trying to play that long game, and if seemingly he had a constant, or he didn't, there's a lack of urgency. Like
that's the best way to put
he was looking for his opportunity to strike, but Canuto never really gave him the opportunity. Like, granted,
because Canuto's putting up his own offense, and so it's like
he had Canuto on his back, on his heels a couple times with the truck.
But even then, Canuto counters that with
I guess almost a heel hook, like a
modified toe hold.
Yeah, but and all of a sudden he lets go. But it seemed like he was playing a long game for a match that is 3 5-minute rounds. It's like he was playing like a 20-25 minute game for
even around
matches.
like I'll play for the overtime. Like an Alan Sanchez has been really successful in EBI and those EBI style formats,
which is definitely not this.
No, it's not.
It's something totally different. Like you can't just survive these rounds and expect to win.
Yeah.
Like EBI, you survive the round, you go to EBI overtime.
And then boom, I'm the best in the world at finishing guys from the back of the arm.
Right.
With Canuto's style, he's just going to erode rounds from you.
And Canuto knows this rule set very well. This is his baby.
This is where he's done. This has been done most. A lot of his professional work is in these style of rules.
And plus, he's with the UFC right now as a UFC fighter. So he's totally entrenched.
Is Canuto in the UFC now?
Yeah.
Oh no shit! I didn't know that. I missed that.
They mentioned that he's in the UFC.
Oh no shit! I completely missed that he was back fighting. Sweet.
Yeah, and he said this is his he loves doing jiu-jitsu, so this is his cornerstone of his game. Sweet. In MMA, so it was good to hear.
Yeah, I think his wife retired a couple of years ago, Raquel. I watched her fight in Invicta for a bunch of times, and other events. So it's cool to see Renato now again. 29 to Raquel's 35. He's still kind of in the middle of his MMA career.
He's still going up.
So
I realized she was 5 years older than him. I'm always wanting to comparing the ages and stuff.
Canuto will sometimes Raquel will post stuff funny, and it's like the difference in age where it's like Canuto was younger, like a kid in a gi, and it's like a picture of her in like college. And he goes, this is what he was doing. This is what I was doing. And it's only like 6 years, but it's still very funny because the age difference. They've been together for many years. Back when she was Raquel Canuto. And they got married, and now they're both Canuto. But it's been very funny. She posts that occasionally, and it's always made me giggle over the years.
Yeah, I think he's UFC. I know he's definitely pushing the MMA thing. I want to say I'm pretty confident UFC, but I'm probably bad. I'm probably wrong.
Whatever.
I'm probably wrong.
You heard. It would be new information for me, but I've been wrong many a time over the years.
Wrong every day, man. Many times.
So again, this is just an odd style matchup for I just want to see Allen to beat a guy like Canuto. You just have to be more offensively minded, and
definitely clash of styles.
Yeah, and it again favors Canuto. He was 1,000 favorite going into this, and it makes sense given that just not even from a technical perspective, but just from a stylistic perspective, Canuto is scheduled. It's like, this is how he wins. It's like Pedro Mourinho in any who's number one matchup.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, man, he just has a style that, maybe doesn't win in every rule set, but, man, this rule set, good luck beating that guy because he has a game tailor-made to beat everyone in this rule set.
Exactly.
So, moving on, let's talk about Sam Ngai versus Dorian Oliveras.
Hey, now.
Dude,
love this match.
This is a great matchup. Sam Ngai is amazing. IBJJF world champion. We've talked about I've been really hot on Sam Ngai ever since we saw him on Fight to Win before he made his world championship run. Him and his brother Jackson Ngai, just exciting, really submission oriented, fast pace. I am really hot on Dorian Oliveras, and I went out to Orlando a couple of weeks ago, saw him at trials, and went, all right, man, I don't know who at under 66 kilos is beating him. And then I see Sam Ngai come out in this first round, and I went, maybe a guy that is just willing to throw the kitchen sink at him
and match his pace
can do that. And I went, okay. So the first round, go back and watch this match specifically because, again, you're going to see a lot more from Dorian Oliveras. You're also going to see a lot more from Sam Ngai. Sam Ngai is only 25. Dorian's 20 right now. Dorian has that phenomenal wrestling game. Go back and watch his trials matches. Watch Sam's world championship run. Sam comes out aggressive and early and throws omoplatas, arm bars, triangles, leg locks, more leg locks, like a calf slicer. He just throws the kitchen sink at Dorian, and you see Dorian go, oh, shit. Defense, and turn out, and in a lot of not late stage defense, but Dorian very clearly losing the exchanges and forcing and only trying to counter by getting out of the exchanges, and the round ends. And I went, oh, yeah, and the guy clearly wins this round, and this is the strategy to beat Dorian Oliveras.
So I have a question. Did he tap that first round?
I only saw it once. I don't think so.
I don't think he did either.
Because Dorian tends to, when he...
But it was interesting.
It looked like a tap a little bit, but it was also, if you watch Dorian escape knee bars, that's what he does. He makes this big jump, and he'll push off super aggressively and fast. I don't think it was a tap. I also don't think Sam Ngai changed what he was doing at all.
No,
I don't think Sam let it go anyway. Which in a pro match, don't be Paul Harris, but make sure there's a tap. Don't
make
one
sure
and done
the judge
it.
sees it. We learned that from CJI too.
We learned that 20 years ago in ADCC. We've learned that. We've known that for years and years and years. Don't just one tap and let it go. So I don't think it was a tap. The guy didn't let go, and Dorian gets out. But it was you watched it and went, oh yeah, Dorian clearly, he did some positional work, but Ngai was on him this entire round, throwing up sub after sub after sub, and every time Dorian would come in to close the distance to pass the guard, you would see Ngai throw up like a choi bar or an omoplata or a triangle, and Dorian would pull out. And
very active from the guard. Very active.
Man, the guy's a monster from the guard.
I was impressed too because I haven't seen too many of his no-gi matches, meaning Sam Nagai's. I know him mostly as a gi guy, but which is why I was worried coming into this fight. So I'm like, wow, how is he going to deal with Dorian with nothing to grab onto, no holds, no.
Go watch his matches in Polaris. I need to go back and watch Nagai's matches in Polaris because I think that's the other time I was really impressed with him. No-gi. It was on the squads event in Polaris for Brazil.
Okay.
And I went, okay, the guy has a very clear avenue to win this entire thing. And then the second round comes out, and you saw Dorian go, cool, that sucked the first round. Enjoy getting wrestled, and then enjoy me keeping the exact same pace that I kept this first round. And now Sam Ngai is just a mortal guy. Yeah. And Dorian Oliveras is just pacing in front of him. And the guy is, man, beautiful guard.
Yeah.
Really, really long extended guard most of the time. Impossible to pass because the only thing you can do when a guy plays in a guard like Nagai, where they have that like double legs open, knees to the chest behind, you can only pass the north-south there.
Yep.
And then the guy's like, yeah, man, I'm a lightweight or a light featherweight or a featherweight. You're not going to even settle the north-south pass on me because my legs are going to come back in. I'm going to push you away enough. Dorian, when he passes, he will tend to drive his chest and chest down, head and chest down, but he tends to not put his hips down low. Until he has settled you, he will drive you down and then push later, and that is enough space for the guy to push him off because he's not flat yet.
Sure.
And then regard.
Sure.
And that was the entirety of like the second and third round, but it was Dorian passing, and the guy like looking for offense, but just slowing down and slowing down and slowing down. And Dorian getting closer and closer with the passes and closer and closer with the passes. And the guy putting up less and less and less offense.
So I saw something.
What'd you see?
So into the second round, do you think the guy was out?
Second or third? Was it the second or third?
Into the second round, Dorian had him in a north-south choke deep.
I
you kind of saw his hands. So they had a camera looking from the top down, and all of a sudden you see the hands.
I think he was cool. I think it was
kind of stopped moving for a minute. And I'm like, is he out?
No, because so the hand was up, and the hand will stay up sometimes, but usually the hand will dip, and it's a very specific dip when someone goes out, and he was kind of holding it up, and when they go out, it'll dip a little bit, and it didn't happen. Now you look at his face and his eyes.
Dude, when he moved,
that was a guy that looked like the whole had closed in on him.
Been there,
and he was in like it looked like Sam Nagai was going out.
Yes.
I don't think he was out, but it looked like he was going out.
I'll tell you what, he laid there for a minute, then he kind of sat up and just sat there for a minute.
But he didn't lay there too long. He laid there for like a second and then sits up, which you can do if you're mostly unconscious, by the way. Take it from me as a guy that used to go out a lot in my younger years. I think it was close, but I don't think he was out. The color in the face and the way he sits up make me kind of go, oh, that was tight.
Yeah, I think so too.
I don't think he was out, but I think that round is 10 more seconds. I think it's very probable.
I would have given him 5, bro. I would have given him 5. I look on his face, you could just see it was just purple, and I'm like, oh, he was getting strangled just now, and he kind of lays there, sits up a little bit, and even Gore makes a comment like, oh, I think he's out. He was out, or something like that, and then I'm like,
it was tight, man.
It was tight, and then he kind of wobbled back to the corner. And in that third round, you just saw he was just gassed. He had nothing left. And that's when Dorian's pace, he just said, all right, it's time. You're in my world now.
Yep. So that's, I would retract my previous statement on not retract. This shows me that there is a pathway to beat Dorian Oliveras. And we talked on the pre-show of well, who do you think can do it? You brought up Abate. I think Abate beats him for different reasons. Yeah, possibly.
Not pace related, but I think just his crispness and technique and how he goes for the legs.
Yeah. The other guy is I think Mikey could beat him.
Yeah.
I kind of want to see that matchup sooner than later now.
That would be interesting. Two clear classes in technique. Goodness gracious.
It's like, cool. It's like Mikey's like, you're going to take Mikey down. Mikey's not going to care in the slightest. Then you have to pass Mikey.
Yeah.
I think Dorian's style, you're not going to pass Mikey.
No.
But you might do enough in front of Mikey to win that matchup in the most boring way possible, but also very clearly as the more aggressive, active fighter. It would be interesting.
And that would be an interesting fight because Mikey would be leg focused, and Dorian being a wrestle heavy guy, his legs probably be away.
But also can be leg locked. Like Dorian, look at the guy, and the guy early in this match, it's a good bite.
It's close, yeah.
Mikey can absolutely.
But would he take Mikey's leg when Mikey put it out there? Like if Mikey's sitting there, he put his leg out, would he take it?
Absolutely, absolutely. He's not
single leg, and that would be all she wrote.
Dorian, one of the things I like about Dorian is Dorian will take you down. He will take you down because he's really good at it. He can prove a point with it. And he's also that's where he wants you. He wants to pass you on the outside.
But that would be interesting, though, because now you're playing right into Mikey's game. Mikey wants that contact from the bottom.
It is an interesting matchup, more so than I thought it was going to be.
There's one more you left out. One more person that we mentioned, Fabricio.
You mentioned Fabricio, I think.
That would be interesting.
Then you brought up, can Fabricio still make 145? And I'm like, I don't know. I think
the money's right.
Yeah, if the money's right, he can make it. Fabricio's the guy.
But this here was 155. This is 155. So I think he can make 155.
Oh, no shit. Okay, so Mikey's not making 55 because Mikey's a bantamweight.
Well, he would just kind of just fill out.
Yeah, but like 45, 55. Yeah, that matchup is a little further out.
I want to see the Fabricio match. I think Fabricio.
The Fabricio match would be fun. But you brought up a point on the pre-show. I was like, well, can Fabricio keep this pace for 15 minutes?
That's the question.
And I went,
that's the question.
I don't know.
That's the question.
Like Dorian is a special dude with pacing, man. Like he makes guys tired.
And what will be Fabricio's path to victory too? I don't know, but that.
I mean, the path to victory is just like you throw enough subs Dorian. Like Dorian is good, but he's 20. He's young. He has a really wrestling heavy style. He's gonna pass like low. Dorian right now is a very known quantity.
Mm-hmm.
Like you know what Dorian brings to the table. He doesn't have anything that is like not unique is the right way to put that. He doesn't have anything that is unorthodox. Mm. He's the best at the things that he does. Like him, and there's probably not a better wrestler under 170 than Dorian Oliveras. Like by credentials alone in jiu-jitsu, like he's just the guy. There's other bigger guys, but like from a technical perspective, guys that can actually compete in wrestling and jiu-jitsu at the lower weight classes, like Dorian's the guy, man. There's not a better wrestler there. Yeah. He's going to take everyone down at 45 and 55. You're not going to stop him, especially in a bowl. You're fighting him in a bowl.
I question that with Fabricio because he wants his judo would kick in.
His judo would kick in, but I don't think, man. There's a reason why judo banned leg grabs.
He's throwing some big guys. He's throwing some guys.
He threw Kynan.
Yeah, I mean,
he got thrown by Owen.
Yeah, I'm telling you that would be an interesting match.
It would be interesting. I think that a guy like Fabricio,
if he could put that question out, if he could put Dorian on his back, what would that look like?
I think it looks like Dorian popping up immediately and trying to wrestle up. Like maybe. I don't think we haven't seen Dorian for any length of time forced to his back.
That's what I'm saying.
I want to see the Fabricio matchup. I think that's the most interesting matchup for a guy at size parity with Oliveras. But this first round from Sam Nagai
was special.
If Nagai keeps this pace, very clear win for Nagai.
I mean, he was
like if not tapping Dorian. I think Dorian is still young enough where he can be got.
I think so too. I think that match showed some holes in his game. You know. But once again, if you don't have that gas tank to be able to, at worst case scenario, go blow for blow with him for however long the match is, he's going to get you.
You got to be there. You got to be in front of him the entire time, and he's gonna wilt you. We saw him do it at trials. I saw him do it a bunch of times in trials. We saw him do it in his first trials.
If you can shrink Roberto Jimenez down, gas tank for gas tank. There you go. Or the Rotolos, because they have a gas tank.
They do, but they're too big.
They're too big now.
They're too big. Like Cade's not making 45 anymore.
No.
Cade's making 70. Ty's making 70, like, begrudgingly.
And I don't see Dorian going from 155 up to 170. That'd be
he's not the stature. He's my size. He's my size, man. He's a 45, 55 guy. Yeah. I think even he puts on a bunch of muscle, he'll still, as a wrestler, he'll make the cut down to those weight classes. He's 20. We're not talking about a guy 28, 29 who's made the cut for years.
Sure.
You know, he's been making the cut as an adult for 2 years.
Yeah.
You know, he has 10 more years of being able to, and at the top level of being able to make that cut hard. I don't think we'll see him above 170 ever, or at 170 there's no reason for it because he can be the best in the world. So, but there is now, I think, a pathway for guys stylistically because you really know what Oliveras brings to the table with the pressure wrestling and like that head down passing. And he still has a little bit of a weakness into the legs that Sam Nagai was almost able to capitalize on.
Oh, he's very close a couple times.
Mm-hmm. Very close. I think if you are, again, you have to be an IBJJF world champion, like Sam Nagai.
I think if Dorian had a gi top on, he'd have been got.
Yeah, but
was almost
I don't think Dorian's ever going to put on a gi. I think there are some guys at 66 and 77 kilos, not 77, 66 and 56 kilos and 155 pounds, both those weight classes that Dorian competes in, that now have more of a shot than I gave them credit for if you can put up a submission-heavy game on him and you know you're going to work off your back. Guys that can enter the legs off, like a guy like Lachlan in his prime.
Oh, goodness.
Where it's like a guy that knows he has a really good K-guard entry and can force like that style of grappling. I'm trying to think of guys at 45 and 55 that bring that to the table. I think there's still a pathway to give Oliveira's a real big problem if you're physical enough to deal with him as well. Because there's some guys that have a great game, but I don't think have the level of physicality to be able to impose on Dorian.
They can't resist that pressure. That pressure wears them down too fast.
Yes.
And then they're playing defense for the rest of the
guys that are too technical and don't have enough sort of like physical grit to deal with it.
You got to be able to match his physicality. Period. If you can't match his physicality, the game's over.
Which is exciting because, man, that's a small list of guys that can do that. And again, the guy did it for one round. In ADCC though, that shorter round, you only have you got an 8-minute round at the World Championship levels.
Yeah, it'd be interesting.
There may be a guy that can match that for 8 minutes.
Maybe we'll see that because maybe CGI might be done, and now everybody go back to ADCC.
Yeah, but again, guys at 77 or 66 always with ADCC.
Good point.
The 66 division was always my guys. Was untouched.
That's my people too.
I'll cut off a leg. You make 66. So very exciting. This was a fun match. This was one of my favorite matches, just because I'm really excited from an analyst perspective, just for me personally, of watching how Dorian Oliveira has developed. Because again, I got to see him before he was in trials at that Dallas ADCC when he was just at 65 kilos, and I was like, who is this kid? And then to see how he's developed has been just really exciting to see young, new talent and blood come in and just rise to the occasion and bring a really unique skill set to the tournament.
I have a question.
What's up?
Everyone's game develops.
Yeah.
How will his game develop? Because he will not be able to be that guy with just a high pace.
I think...
So the question is, how will that game look in a year, 2 years, 5 years?
My question is, where does he start to sub guys? And as a wrestler... He doesn't strike me as a back take wrestler. Yeah. He can do it.
Yeah.
And Kingsway, a lot of the guys really favor the back take. To have him be like a head and arm grappler, he likes that top pressure, pin the shoulders down. Like, I think he's going to be a north-south guy or a head and arm guy.
So strictly from the top, you don't see him really kind of delve into the whole guard game thing.
I think he'll play it. But I think there is no reason for him to have to play it.
Until he gets put in his back and people
who? I don't know. There's not anyone at 66 or 55 kilo or 56 or 60 kilos that can do it.
All right.
Truthfully, I'm thinking through all the guys without a gi top on.
But it's going to happen though.
I don't know, man. He is so much better of a wrestler than everyone in our sport. He's an actual wrestler.
Yeah.
He's like a Fargo wrestler. He's like a national level high school wrestler, like collegiate level wrestler. Those guys don't go into jiu-jitsu at 20. They're going and doing wrestling.
What I'm saying, I think eventually he gets to the point, he will get old enough that he physically won't be able to be at the peak condition that he is now. That game, I think, is going to wane. His physical ability is going to wane. Trust me, I know. As I get older, I was like, I can do this. But I was like, not like I
think he's got 5 years before we see him have to play any level of guard. It's not get up and counter wrestle you.
I think it might be sooner than that, but I'll have to come
He's
with that.
20.
I've come up with that short list.
He's 20. Come with the short list. I'm curious though, but I don't think from a technical perspective it'll matter. I think he will turn into a head and arm monster, much like a young Marcelo. I think that's the kind of game we're going to see from him. How much does
Gianni weigh?
Grippo?
Yeah. Is he 155?
55er. Yeah, 55. He's in the finals with Cole, I think.
That would be
featherweight.
Another interesting match, I think. I mean, I think if he can kind of hold off.
Who beat Gianni at trials? Was it Gavin?
Yes.
Or was it Keith?
Gavin.
Was it?
I think Gavin Corbett.
Okay. Interesting matchup.
Gavin.
He beat Gavin.
I'm saying Gavin and Dorian. No, Dorian beat Gavin.
Just recently, it sounded.
Dorian beat Gavin?
At finals and trials,
yes,
a month ago. Yeah.
Brain fart.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to think of other good wrestlers that are good. But
not to say we beat him once. Okay, you
could see. I want to see Dorian.
That was a very good match, though.
It was a good match.
That was very.
That was one of my highlight matches from trials.
So I think with a little bit of tweaking and on the right day, I think Gavin could probably get him.
It'd be fun to see, man.
Yes.
So let's talk about this matchup. Andy Varela versus Robbie Maloff. This was weird for a couple of different reasons. Mostly because Robbie Maloff dislocates his finger in round 1. And then it was weird. So Varela takes this clearly. Varela was over a 1,000 favorite in this. Varela should have taken this again. Just fought Tackett for the title a little bit ago.
Almost a sure thing, right? Seemingly.
Yeah. Technically, he wins this by heel hook in the 3rd round. But this was a weird match from Varela because it was very clear that he was better than Robbie Maloff. He was getting on top. He was putting the pressure on. He was passing. But then he was weirdly showboating. And it made both of us kind of wonder of like, okay, yep, like showboat for a second and then finish the match.
Yeah, and it didn't happen.
And then he couldn't.
Yeah.
And then he didn't or he couldn't. It was just it was a really weird performance from Varela because it was so clear. I was like, okay, you're better than Robbie Maloff. Now Maloff is obviously injured, can't use that hand.
Yeah.
And you're not putting him away. And it wasn't, I couldn't figure out if he was gun shy, if he was mad at Robbie Maloff trying to prove a point.
Yeah.
But it was just a weird mental game from Varela of, okay, he's hurt. Why are you not
just ending it
and putting him away? Can you not?
Now, I knew they were going back and forth. There were some words that were being said.
That's every Varela match, man.
So it makes you wonder what they were saying. And I wonder if Varela was cooking them. I don't know if he was trying to grandstand. I just don't know because I couldn't hear. I just couldn't hear. But it was interesting why he didn't just put him away.
Yeah, it was. I think this is a really bad performance from Varela for that perspective. Even the commentary was like thought it was a little weird. They went, yeah, man, we're bringing you here because we're looking for you to finish the matches, and you're not doing that. Like, you're kind of stunned on a guy, but in a way that's not actually that impressive because if it was impressive, you just put him away.
Yeah, and I think even Varela after the match, after he subbed the guy, you can kind of tell from his mannerisms and body language, he wasn't very happy with his performance.
It was weird, though, because we know Varela's good. Like, there's a reason why I was excited to see him fight.
He's a beast, bro.
Tackett for the title. That trials run, man, it's amazing. Like, he's really, really good. He has some really good wins. He has an exciting, aggressive style. This was just a really weird performance.
Like, granted, I will say this, not to hate to cut you off there, but there are times in which you'll meet that person who doesn't want to play jiu-jitsu with you. And it looked like at the end of round 1 and through round 2 and even beginning of round 3 that Maloff just did not want to engage. He was on his back. He was hiding his hand. It's really tough to kind of engage with someone who doesn't want to engage with you.
Yeah.
So it kind of seemed like that. Like, I've been that way before. I'm getting so overwhelmed or I'm hurt or something on me is not right. And I'm just like, I'm going to just survive this round and not engage. Hell, when you try to kill me, I'll ball up. I'll get on my ball, and I'm just like, it's hard for you to sub me.
It is.
If I don't want to engage.
But it's
with
like
you. So maybe that was part of it too.
On the other side of it, though, for me, it was like, even if, and that's kind of what I saw too from Maloff. Again, you're injured. You kind of trying to get to the match at that point. But we've seen Varela be able to capitalize for a decade almost now, on guys in a compromised spot. Like, get the back, get the choke. Like, that's what he does so well. It was really weird for him to, like, seemingly take the foot off the gas to such a degree. Like, I've never seen Varela play as tentatively and cautiously as he did in this matchup.
I agree with that.
Like, again, I can't think of a match that we've ever talked about Varela where he has played this cautiously.
It's not his game. Not his game at all.
And it made me just wonder of, like, okay, the grandstanding, it was obviously grandstanding for something else. Yeah. And I went, okay, where's the sub? Where's the thing you're known for? Like, yep, you're stunting on him. That's great. You've made your point. You've been aggressive. You've, put on the show that you're the aggressive guy. Yeah. Where's the rest of it? And it was just a really weird performance from Varela that I don't think will go over well for the UFC BJJ. And it wouldn't surprise me to have him not on the next card with a performance like this, because even the commentary staff was like open on commentary, like, what the fuck are you doing here? Like, what are you? Like, it was such a weird matchup to watch. Varela very clearly win, and then Maloff looks like his knee is injured for the heel hook because Varela doesn't even lock up the heel hook fully.
Yeah,
it was like
he had it with one arm, one hand. He kind of
it looked like Maloff was like, I'm done. You got me.
I'm like, oh shit. Maybe he was just done. Maybe he's like,
that's what it looked like. His hand, my finger's broken.
And he actually sat up there after his submission, after he got submitted, and kind of just looked at his finger and addressed the ref like, hey, you see this? And I'm like, oh wow, I do see his fucking finger sticking sideways.
So I don't know,
so
man.
Maybe it was interesting.
I don't have much on this one. It was just a really weird.
I will say this. I would love to see him run this back with Maloff healthy,
having a whole hand.
I have another question too, because they like when the doctor was looking at it, they made a point to say that they wouldn't let him wrap his hand or fingers, and I think that's kind of like, wow, you could have probably had a different match if you let him wrap his finger up and kind of splint it a little bit. Just take another minute, maybe. Say, all right, splint it up.
I understand why, because if you're now injured enough where you got to wrap something up, You've changed. There's weird rules in combat sports with sanctioning and commissioning. Grappling is not a sanctioned and commissioned sport. In Vegas, I know this because CGI doesn't need it, ADCC doesn't need it for grappling sports. You can't like add gear to guys halfway through. I can't put a compression sleeve on you. I can't put a glove on you. I can't tape something midway through. I can't tape your ankles up after. Like, nope. What you go in as the mat.
You have to have
because the ref can't. The ref's not required to recheck you between rounds.
Okay.
And so if you're adding something, or a doctor's adding something, or taping you up, like you've added something between rounds for like pro fights like this. In tournament, they'll do it. Like a medic will come out, wrap you up if you're bleeding, and they'll do it for blood, but they're not gonna let you wrap joints. Because there's an injury, and it's like if you're injured, you either compete or you can't compete. We're not going to reinforce this injury halfway through and let you keep going. So it's a weird rule that never comes up. But yeah, you usually are not allowed to wrap stuff that was injured during a match.
But damn, it'd have been interesting to let him do it.
It would have been. It would have been. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those where it's like, I mean, his finger popped out. Like
He's basically saying, I'm not going to use his hand. I'm going to hide it right there. And that was pretty much the match. Like, hide and seek with the damn hand.
Yeah.
And I'm like, shit. So.
Yeah, it was frustrating. A little bit frustrating. So let's talk about this next match. Bellamere versus Ronda Wilnick. Jocko's kid versus Frank Mir's kid.
Yeah.
Bellamere is a monster of a woman.
Collegiate wrestler.
Like national runner-up champion wrestler. Moved over to a different school this year. She's been a pro fighter for years. I watched all her amateur fights. I watched her pro fights. Bellamere, the wrestling, and then the hunting for the back, hunting for the arm. Again, still very clearly an MMA fighter. And you know Bella's like very... You can see in her stylings and how she is fighting stuff. Bellamere is not going to jump for a sub. Very positional focused first, which that comes from the wrestling and from the MMA fighting.
Yeah.
And that's where she wanted to be. She wanted to sit on that back hip where she could score in wrestling and she could score in MMA where it's like, I can punch you. And then if the opportunity gave itself, she would look for the arm. She would look for something else. She would look for the neck. But she was never going to overcommit to anything. And it was just like at the beginning of the round, there'd be a double leg or a pull. And then there would be just consistent Mir on top, pressuring down, looking for a top position.
Yes.
And then it would be Wilnick looking for the knee bars and the leg locks on the bottom. Two interesting takeaways. You go for it.
There's one. I want to say it was in the first round. Raina was definitely going for the legs. I think that was almost her only way out because of Bella's top pressure and wrestle heavy game,
which is a great way to do it. Again, but I think it's going to put you there.
So Bella had her leg. It was kind of in a sacrifice position where when she was they were both kind of sitting. You can kind of tell she was probably about a half move away from getting knee barred. At the bottom of the bowl wall.
Yeah, Wilnick had it in, and then Bella's like knee is extended out, and she's almost in like a lateral knee bar position where it's like not quite flat and straight.
Yeah.
But Rana doesn't have to do much to straighten and pull that.
No, she
didn't. And then
didn't.
Commentary brought it up, and we talked about it on the pre-show.
Yeah, you shouldn't put your knee in that. You shouldn't be in a position where you could even get.
Well, Bella didn't seem to have any urgency in that spot.
Yeah, she was comfortable just kind of sitting there, like okay.
It was odd. I went, ooh. You should be getting out of this.
Yeah, you should be changing positions.
For two reasons. Yeah. One, you're not technically you're not getting subbed. You're not in a position that's like, you're not eating a sub to do this. But two, you're close to like Rana being able to make a little adjustment and start to really crank in this knee bar. And the other side of that is... I
think if Brandon would have been belly down, she would have been right there.
Exactly. The other side of it is, in a judge's perspective, you're in what is not quite a submission, but pretty close to a submission, and you are not improving your position.
Correct.
You're not escaping. You're not countering. You're just kind of like sitting there and sort of waiting the round out, like not a good look. That was the most like damning piece in this match. I was like, ooh, I'm really concerned that Bellamere would be willing to kind of wait that out as opposed to be able to have any sort of level of offense or like escape there. That was really concerning, and I don't know what happened there. But that was a piece that it just flipped in my head. I went, ooh, that's not a good look.
No,
that's not a good. That's tactically, that's not great decision making for a couple of different reasons.
Yeah.
And again,
you're just sitting. You're waiting for the ultimate to happen. If it doesn't happen, you're lucky. And I think she was very.
well, you're also
fortunate
losing.
that-
Like you're losing. You're losing the round in that spot.
Yeah.
And it's like it wasn't deep. Like she can make, there's defensive options. You can open the hip there. You can open the knee, push through. Like you can get out of that. You're in a spot where, yes, if you push, yes, there is an opportunity for Rana to counter you, but you slide the arm underneath. You're there. Then your dad is one of the best knee bar guys in the world. I watched this Frank Mir knee bar. It's like a seminar Mir did in probably 2010 or something like that. And it was on YouTube for years. It's hard to find the video. There's a couple of videos of Frank Mir, and it's him teaching essentially the knee bar that he hit on Brock Lesnar.
Okay.
And it was one of the first videos I watched from Mir. Maybe not one of the first. One of my favorite videos I watched from Mir from a teaching perspective, because he very cleanly explains, I'm here, I do this, the hand comes across, it comes over, I push here. It's like he breaks it down step by step by step by step by step. And at one point, he, in that video, there's some principles of Frank Mir talking about the knee bar that I still use to this day in my knee bar game. And one of them is, he says two things. One of them, it's like, it doesn't matter which shoulder. Because he's doing a knee bar in a certain way where it doesn't matter what shoulder. And it's always bothered me that it didn't matter which shoulder.
Right.
And he does another thing where he talks about, oh yeah, you put your hand here to clear. And he goes, they basically, they can have something here, they can not have something here. It doesn't matter. Clear it regardless, because you don't lose anything clearing this regardless by making this extra motion.
Got it.
And I went, that's just really diligent grappling. Like you have built this sort of system of how you do this in a way where you just do this regardless, because it's there, you fix it. It's not there, you don't lose anything by clearing it.
Right.
And it was such a really interesting way to kind of break down a position. And he's in just a regular MMA gym, obviously giving a seminar. And I want to find the video again because it's a really, really great video. And I've gone on a huge tangent here. But to my point is, Bella Mir knows how to get out of a fucking knee bar.
Yeah.
Like her dad has won a world title off a knee bar. Yeah, she knows how to defend a knee bar. It was very odd to see her not have more aggressive defense in this spot, and then go back to do what she was doing. She clearly wins in the wrestling. She clearly wins in top position. She clearly wins on aggression.
Yeah.
But Rana was in this a little more than I expected in some spots, because Bella was a little less diligent with her leg positioning than I expected her to be.
Yeah.
And she was much more willing to be close up to Rana's head, where Rana could get underneath and start to invert and come under for the leg. She gave Rana more opportunity than I would have expected in the leg locks, given Mir's pedigree. But also, as a wrestler, I would also expect her to be more willing to keep her legs back. But again, I haven't watched a lot of her wrestling matches, so I'm very curious what kind of wrestling style she has. She might want the legs because she's going to turn over and do some other stuff. So maybe more into her wrestling game that I'm seeing, and a little less of jiu-jitsu styling. But a clear match for Bella Mir. Do you have any other kind of takeaways or any thoughts on the matchup?
No, I think when Bella goes back and watches this match, I think if she's just more diligent on being more offensive and not putting herself in that position to even let Reina back into the game, I think that she probably would have finished her in the second round. I don't think it would have gone the full 3 rounds. I think if she just focused more on attacking, and the rules of this rule set of this competition, I think it would have been a shorter fight. So
moving on, let's talk about a real quick match.
Real quick.
Nathan Hernandez versus Landon Elmore. Landon Elmore is the guy that won EBI, who subbed Keith in the finals of that. Really impressive. Got an attitude about him, for sure. I think it's going to turn a lot of people off. It can't understate it. It is very evident. It is the constant conversation with him. Super quick, ankle lock or heel hook. I think a straight ankle lock in 45 seconds or something like that.
Yeah, it was less than a minute.
This is what we expected. Landon Elmore is very good. He has very fast subs, and he guns for guys hard. I know how hard Keith is to put away in leg locks, and if you can put away Keith Krikorian
you're doing something.
In an EBI, I'm there's not a lot of guys, if he gets the feet, he can't put away. He's also from Kingsway. You're from good schooling. With Gordon in that room, and you're, I think, a guy that they're going to push aggressively. He's 19 right now. He's young. He's in the room with Dorian Olivares and with Taza. He's in the room with all those guys at Kingsway. I don't really have anything to bring to this match. This is sort of what we expected from this match from Landon Elmore. I'm very interested to see Elmore get matched up more aggressively in the next year.
I have 2 things.
You got 2 things. What do you got?
One, he called out Kevin Carrasco afterwards.
Which is an odd call out.
Yeah,
It's not a bad call out, but it was still an interesting, it was an interesting call out to make.
Yeah, same here. And I think later on in the broadcast, they asked, they said they spoke with him on the side and said, who in the gym kicks your butt? And he said, Ronaldo Junior kicked his butt. So that tracks, right?
That tracks. So I don't have much more on that.
He has
really
a bright
impressive.
future. He has a really bright future ahead of him.
Final match we're going to talk about. I got to go run open mat here about 7 minutes. Lucas Pinheiro versus Jussier Formiga. I get it, commentary, that Formiga is 40 years old. Holy shit, man!
You couldn't tell.
You couldn't tell. They brought up him being 40 so many times.
Yes, they did.
Formiga's great. I love Formiga. This was again another sort of Pinheiro looked amazing up front.
Mm-hmm.
This looked exactly like Nagai versus Oliveira. Pinheiro, again, former IBJJF world champion, retired a couple years ago after they win that black belt title. Still will go to Masters, but doesn't do adult competition anymore. Came back out to take off the gi to take on Formiga. Wins the first round, loses the other two because he just gets tired. And
Formiga just imposes his wrestling,
and then top pressure and the head and arm chokes.
Yeah,
this was exactly the middleweight title fight, and the title fight we had with Dorian Alvarez. Three of these matches were the exact same thing. Guy wins the first round clearly with offense and submission attempts, followed by getting tired and getting mounted in the head and arm, and fighting out of a head and arm for the rest of the 2 rounds. Yeah. It was so funny that we had 3 different matches on this card go this exact way. It was fun. Again, I want to see both these guys back. I don't have a whole lot else on this matchup. It was good. I enjoyed it. Do you have overall thoughts for UFC BJJ?
I love it. More.
Yeah, man. The broadcast is getting better. The commentary is getting good. Overall,
very good matchups.
The event's fun.
Very fun. It goes pretty quick. Looking at 2.5 hours, 2.5, 3 hours.
The video is like 4 hours. It was a little long, but also you can watch it at 2x speed.
Oh yeah,
and you can tab back and through, and the interface is good. It doesn't load every time you move between. If I want to back something up, it's instantaneous. As much as I love the YouTube interface, man, the Fight Pass interface is phenomenal. It has some other kind of creature comforts that I would like, but overall, man, the ability, going from UFC Fight Pass to Flow is just night and day. We're trying to navigate, hey man, cool sequence, let me back it up. And then Flow has to sit there and load.
Yeah,
this was 2010 again.
This one here just kind of
and then Fight Pass is like bop bop bop. It's back to the next thing. And I love just how
even between matches keeps you entertained. You're like, oh, this is interesting.
Yeah, they have the build up for it. The production quality on the UFC Fight Pass or the UFC BJJ is really really good, and I'm really really happy for it. So that's all I got. Next week we are going to talk about IBJJF No-Gi Worlds. Those matchups are happening now. Some interesting matchups. Pisana got footlocked, like I called last week, by Elizabeth Clay.
It's a matter of time, dude.
It's a matter of time. I was like, she run to someone who's really good, and then you run to the best female leg locker in the world, aside from Adele Florino, and that's what it was. So I'm excited to talk about that and look at those matchups, talk about the men's finals, the women's finals. We'll do all of that next week. Anything else you got fun going on?
Looking forward to BJJ 5, UFC BJJ 5 and 6. They've announced, was it February 12th? Mason Fowler's doing the title defense, and March 5th, Mikey's up.
I'm excited. I'm excited for both of those because they're both champions now, man.
World champion. They have not announced their opponents yet, so that's interesting. I'm
excited to find out who it is. Because man, these events are great. I will probably have folks over to the house next time for both these. I think if they're on the calendar, they're this far out on the calendar.
Yeah,
I can put them on the schedule. I would love to have them be Saturday nights.
As long as I'm not involved with soccer with my kids, I'll be here.
So I'll be here. So that's it. As far as our news goes, we got my wife's black belt promotion tomorrow.
Yay!
That's where we're doing the show tonight. And then that's it, man. So any closing thoughts for you?
No, sir.
All right. As always.
Yeah, that's right. I can't be at training tonight. I just got my hair done. It's $130 here, so I'm going to enjoy it for a couple of days, and then you'll see me probably midweek.
Fuck yeah. Awesome. So as always in the show, I'm your host, Maine, joined by my co-host,
Corey.
And we have the Grappling Rants, and that what it is. Stay safe. If you like the show, please consider sharing it on Facebook with the folks at your gym. It's the best way that we grow the show, and we really appreciate it. You can reach out to us on email.
We also have Instagram. We have Facebook. We have Twitter. We have Google+.
Until that shuts down.
We have a website.
If you have an event you would like to have us cover, please let us know. If you have a name, like most people do, and you'd like to have us stop butchering it,
let us know.
Reach out to us. The show is also available on YouTube, Spotify, in addition to iTunes and every other podcast service. We very much appreciate your time, and thank you.